Hello, my YouTube friends. Thanks for joining in tonight. Man, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do now. It's about right down there. And if you haven't slammed that bell, please do because we got a lot of great things going on. And one is the Shure SM7B microphone giveaway that we're going to be doing at the beginning of the month. And you don't want to miss out on that, man. Hit that subscribe button, slam that bell, and type down there as to why you like a Shure microphone. It's real easy. Even if you've never even owned a Shure microphone, man, that's going to get you in the drawing, and you don't want to miss out. Wow, I'm sorry I'm late tonight, you guys, man. I rushed back from the gym again. These people over there trying to kill me over there. But either I'm going to die getting in shape or I'm just going to die. Either one, man. So I'd rather doing it trying to get in shape. But anyway, man, it's good to be here. Tonight is keep that mud on your four wheeler. Yeah, man, keep that four wheeler all dirty and muddy like most people do, but get it out of your mix, man. So, how do we keep the mud out of our mix? That is a big question. You might be asking yourself, how do I do that, man? I've spent so much time getting everything right, getting the balance right, everything's balanced, but it just sounds muddy as heck, and I can't hear this, and I can't hear that, and I can't hear this anymore, and everything's just driving me freaking crazy. Well, you know what, man? A static mix is a boring mix for one thing, so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about getting a balance and then actually picking a few elements in the song that you're going to use to be in the front of the mix and then just doing a reverse thing from the balance situation. Because really, in all reality, a balance mix is kind of daggum boring when you can hear everything. And if you ever listen to a good mix, you actually, us engineers, we're paying attention to everything, and we can hear all the little air candy things over here coming in and out of the mix and whatnot, and things that are just back there that are supporting what really needs to be supported in the front. So, how do we do that? And how do we get away from masking? And what is that all about? What does masking really mean? Masking is a real thing. I'm going to try to pull this a little closer if I can. Can I? Anyway, I'm just having some fun tonight, man. I feel good. And I want to just hang out with you guys tonight and try to throw a little humor in there if I can. And, but yeah, masking is a real thing. And I want to say that, oh, you know what? I had something I wanted to show you guys. See if I can find it here. It's really important. And it'll kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. And I took a picture of it, hoping that I could find it and show you what the heck I'm talking about when I mean masking and what masking's all about. It is a real thing, and it's something that to have a good mix. Here it is, right here. Okay, see, look, I took a picture of this, guys. I want you to check this out because this is the what happens when you start adding other elements to the mix. Your frequencies, each instrument, okay, takes up a certain area of frequency. And then when your keyboards and your vocals, now vocals, the vocal range is pretty much one of the instruments that can go very, very low and very, very high. And you can see it right here in this chart. I want you to check out if I can get it in there where y'all can see that. You might not be able to see it, man. I was hoping I could get it. It's not going to show it. It's too low. There it is. If I put it at an angle, you can actually see it. But the yellow is actually the vocals, and it shows you where the instruments lie on the frequency pattern from and so vocals take up a lot of frequency, and that's why a lot of that low end on the vocal is kind of rolled off a little bit because it's a lot of masking's going on. And typically what people do to help you get away from that masking occurring is they'll pan hard left or hard right and keep things in the center of the stereo field. But you can also do it by EQ and negative EQ. So let's just say that my keyboards or my acoustic guitar, a lot of the energy in acoustic guitar is around 400 or 500 hertz. Okay, that's where all the energy is in the guitar. Let's just say I have two acoustic guitar parts, and that energy is, you want to hear both acoustic guitars. So what happens is, let's just say I might want to boost 1 dB in that 400 or 500 hertz or wherever. Okay, and then I want to do some negative EQing on the other acoustic guitar in that 400 or 500 hertz. And that way, there's this gap in between, and they're not overlapping each other and canceling each other out. Okay, and that's what masking is all about. That's when you hear that term masking, that's what's going on. And so, I don't know if you've ever been standing in front of someone. Let's just say you're standing in front of 3 or 4 people, or maybe even 5 or 6 or 7. And there's a few behind them that's talking, and everybody's talking at once at you. And there's all this noise and these frequencies that's going on, and you really can't hear anything. You can't hear anything that's going on, and that's what happens when you start adding all these other instruments that are going to be in the mix. Is they're all talking at once, and they all want their position. They're saying, no, this is where I am, and I want these frequencies. And so what ends up happening is one person starts talking louder than the next. You're pushing up those faders as to one instrument louder than the next. Before you know it, you got your mix all out of whack and everything, and you can't hear anything, man. And then it's just total mud at that point. So that's what masking really is identifying where those frequencies are. And a spectrum analyzer, if you're new at this, guys, and you do not know where your instrument lies and what frequencies they lie in, a spectrum analyzer will tell you everything as to what's going on your instrument that you're actually listening back to. So it's good to use a spectrum analyzer, just simply because it will reveal everything and help you out as to what frequencies you want to um, put a little bell on and actually pull those down, those transients that are hitting real high. You might want to put a little bell on that and pull it down. And that way those transients aren't. And then on the other instrument, do the opposite. And that's what negative EQing is all about, to get rid of that masking. Start panning things hard left, hard right, use EQ, negative EQing, and you're going to find yourself having better mixes, more clarity in the mix, and to be able to hear the instruments better. Everything's just going to sound better and hit harder when you clean it up. And it's going to surprise you a lot to, dang, man, I didn't realize that guitar track was that good. Or dang, man, I didn't realize that sounded so good. But it will when you clean it up and there's no masking going on. Get rid of the mud, and you're gonna love your mixes a lot more. But that's something I really wanted to share with you guys tonight, because that can be confusing as to having a good mix. But I wanted to tell you something about this really, really interesting. I remember doing live sound for the church many years ago, and they had lost somebody that was in there, and they needed some help. And I told them that I really didn't run live sound, but being that I knew more than most of the people in there, I was willing to go ahead and help them out, and put in my 2 cents or whatever. But I remember going in there, and everything was in stereo for one thing, and I remember pulling everything in mono on in there, and man, everything started cleaning up. I was getting people saying, "Man, we never heard that before. The mixer doing a great job, all this stuff." And and it was just simply just pulling everything in mono and mixing in mono, and it just made a world of difference. But that's something too. Always check your mixes in mono, but balance. And I remember the worship leader coming up to me and saying, and at the time, I really just wasn't focused on what he was saying too much, but I remember him saying this to me. He says, "Man, the mix was really balanced. Everything was balanced really well." And that's what he said to me. Everything was balanced really well. And I got to thinking about a few days ago, and I was like, man, I still remember him saying that. And having a balance is important. But also, if you listen to everything balanced in a mix, it really isn't that. it really isn't that the vibe. Everything's just kind of just static, and it just really is boring. There's more to it. And I did a video where I was talking about how riding the faders and doing automation and keeping things moving in the mix, keeping things coming forward, keeping things going back. And that's what kind of has a lot of interest as to having a good mix to where things are pulling back, things are going forward. So you got to keep in mind what instruments are going to be in the mix and what typically, if there's vocals, that always needs to be heard, and that's an important element of the song that needs to be heard and sound really, really good. And then you're going to have those other instruments that are sitting behind that, supporting that, whether you add delay or your lower instruments seem to be more forward, and your higher instruments with higher sounding EQ seems to be more back. But you can push those back, and you can do that with reverbs and delays and things like that to actually give you that three-dimensional sound that you actually want and having a good mix. Man, there's so much to learn about all this stuff and a lot of practice that goes along with it. So it's not just knowing, but it's being able to do it and produce, that are two completely different things. We can talk about things all day, but whenever you go to do it, it makes it it's a lot different. So it's kind of like I heard someone say before. It says you're going to go get singing lessons. Would you rather go to someone who can sing or someone that's just going to teach you how to sing? So and that kind of hit home real hard. It's like, oh wow, yeah, I think I'd want to go to the guy that's pumping it out, and you can actually hear what he's doing. If he says do this, then yeah, let's do that because the proof's in the pudding, man. So I don't know if I told you guys, but I've been working a lot on some of my tunes, and I'm at a point where I had to just let it go and step back a little while, and kind of I'm gonna come at it and hit it from a different angle and have a different interpretation of how I want to have the mix and what instrument that I want to propel the song. So these are things that I want to just sit back a while. And now I've got a pretty good balance mix right now on what I got going on. Okay, everything's pretty balanced, and I haven't really did any live automation as to keep things moving in the mix, keep things coming in and out and whatnot to make it interesting. However, I'm still contemplating on how I want whatever instrument I want to be the driving force other than the vocals. What's going to support the vocals in the and the driving force of the mix? So that's kind of like where I'm at, you guys. And so I thought, well, the best thing that I need to do right now is just step away from it, come into the mix fresh, and then hit it hard and hit it quick and see what I can do as far as coming up with something really cool and keeping the vibe going. Whew, man, I'm out of breath. I gotta refresh with some Gatorade here, man. I actually did two classes tonight. I did an ab class that was 30 minutes long, and then I went and did the RPM class, which is riding a bicycle for 30 minutes uphill, cranking down on it really, really hard. Like I say, I'm either gonna get in shape or I'm gonna die doing it. And I just really want to be ready for summer and have a lot of energy for summer because it's going to be hot here in Southeast Texas. I'll tell you that. Mm-mm-mm. These new Gatorades are pretty good. They're low in sugar, if hardly any sugar in there, and they're not too bad, man. To get you replenished and get you going again. But thank you guys for joining in tonight, man. There's so much to say. I want to say I'm gonna try to get a hold of my friend Dennis tomorrow and see if he wants to join me for tomorrow night's show. I'm sure he's got a lot to talk about. I love this guy. I love his knowledge and just listening to him talk. He's just really a cool person. He is an audio engineer, and he has done a lot of work for a lot of famous people, and he does a lot of work when we're having concerts for doing live concerts for big bands and whatnot. So I'd love to get Dennis on the show tomorrow night if I can, if if he's available. And we're going to be going on Be Live, so you'll actually be able to see me and him conversing, talking about different subjects. So hopefully, if I can get him on tomorrow night, we'll have some cool stuff you don't want to miss out on, you guys. So yeah, we got some great things going on. One is the Shure SM70 microphone giveaway. And we're going to be doing one first of the month. And if you miss out on this one, guys, that's okay, man. Hang in there because we're going to be doing another one. I don't know when we're going to be doing the other giveaway on the other mic. But after that, we're going to be doing some t shirt giveaways. And what I'm probably going to do, man, is order some really, really cool t shirts that are a little different than the other Audio Master t shirts. Everybody likes t shirts, whether they're, you can always wear them. It's in the summertime or whatever. So I was going to make some up that are black and with white lettering and Audio Master. And then on the back, I was thinking of having some type of tube gear or whatever, and then having something, some type of logo or whatever on the back. But I haven't actually gotten there yet. But there's just a lot going on, and with everything else that's going on, we had this. I'm not sure if you guys know, but Texas got hit really, really, really hard with of this snow and ice, and that's something that a lot of us here weren't prepared for. And it took out the pipes underneath my house and many, many other people's houses in Texas. Everybody needs parts. Everybody needs 90s and pipe, PVC pipe, and hot water pipe, and all this stuff. So it's just been a mess here in Texas, and I've been trying to rock and roll with it and continue on with everything else and not let anything disturb me as to my goals that I want to get accomplished before summertime. So, there's a lot to say about that. And one, I want to be in shape. Okay, I want to be in shape. Last summer, I was so out of shape when it got 95, 96 degree and a heat index. Felt like it was 115 here. I literally thought I was going to die of a heat stroke. And I told myself, no, I'm going to start getting in shape. And next summer, I'm going to be more prepared for that. And if if I want to run or if I want to, you know, run down the beach or walk down the beach or whatever, I'm going to be in shape. And so I've been really, really working hard to get there. But also, I wanted to encourage you guys about getting in the studio and um, turning on your computer and start playing with some mixes and start playing with some start by getting a balance of the mix in your song. And if it sounds like mud and you can't really hear things clearly, or the bass really isn't hitting hard, you know that there's some masking going on. And so it might be something that you might want to put a spectrum analyzer on each track, spectrum analyzer on your guitar if you don't know where those bass frequencies are. Spectrum, excuse me, a spectrum analyzer on your acoustic guitar. Excuse me, especially if you don't know exactly where your acoustic guitar sits, drop a spectrum analyzer on that track itself and just look and see what's going on as you play in real time if you need to or whatever. And then do that on each instrument, and that way you'll know, oh wow, I know that this instrument takes up all these frequencies. I know this instrument takes up these frequencies. I know the bass guitar takes up these frequencies. And so that'll kind of help you get a ballpark figure as to where everything sits. And then do a vocal take, man. Start just singing. And I know that everybody has a different range that they sing in, but just do it anyway and find out where you sit, especially if you're recording yourself. Find out where you sit in the mix and check out that spectrum analyzer. And then just kind of go at it without using the spectrum analyzer. Again, hit it again, see if you can get a nice balance with everything. And notice how much cleaner and clear and everything hits once you get to that point. Now, after you get to that point, then I want to say recede back and then, start pulling things back, start pushing things forward. Take that one main thing that you really, really like, whether it's the keyboards or whatever, that you were going to use that as to propel the song, and actually push it forward and take another one and push it way back and then watch how things start changing in your mix, and you're going to be really impressed how it's still all glued together and cohesively works. You can hear everything that you need to hear, yet it's a lot more interesting than the mix that you had before that was static and balanced across everything. So when you hear a lot of mixes, I remember playing live music and being in a band. And man, I want to say, guys, that we were always, constantly telling the other person to pay attention to the volume level that they were playing at. And I want to say it was the drummer most of the time that we had issues with playing too loud. A lot of times he would just get really radical and he just would just really hit the drums and the cymbals really hard. He wasn't really being fair to the rest of the musicians in the band as to trying to get a balanced mix where we could hear each other, you know. And so that's one thing. Live music is one thing, and then actually listening to music on a CD is a completely different thing to talk about and a whole nother subject. But anyway, man, there's just so much to audio engineering and so much to recording and mixing and mastering. It's just a lifetime of learning, and we never stop learning. It's really a cool thing. In fact, I was watching a video the other day. This guy was talking about actually in your studio where your desk sits, there's a 38% rule. That is to where your speakers need to be 38% pulled back in the room, however big room that you're actually mixing in. And, which in my room here, if I was to set up my studio like that, it would actually be 4 feet from the walls, and then my desk would be way out, pretty much almost, 38% in the rooms, which really kinda sets me almost pretty much in the middle of the daggum room. But I'm really fortunate that I don't really need to do that because, I have another adjacent room that I can always go into and listen to my mix. So I'll listen to my mix in my headphones. I'll listen to my mix through other monitors, and then I'll go in another room, a separate room, and listen to the mix in there. And he said something interesting about how transients hadn't really had time to gel and whatever. And so a lot of times when you're listening to your speakers, and you're actually listening to them really close or the speakers are too close to the wall, you're here in the room and you're not giving yourself time, or the room's not giving yourself time to hear the mix as it really is. So I thought that was really interesting that he brought up that. And really knowledgeable person. He sounded really intelligent. I want to say it was like a Kush audio video. I don't know the guy's name, but you can go check it out. Just type in Kush on YouTube, and I'm sure he'll come up. But sounds like I've been wanting to get some of his plugins too. I don't know if he's actually the guy who developed these Kush plugins, but if he is, man, he's rocking and rolling, and really interesting person. Sounds really knowledgeable. And I don't know if he's actually mixed for other people or actually done any has any credentials or whatever to go by. But I don't know, man. He just sounded really knowledgeable. And if he's doing that, if he actually developed those Kush audio plugins, I know he's not hurting and he's doing pretty good. So anyway, maybe you might want to check out that video because he was talking about actually setting up the studio that way and helping you out on your mixing to where you're actually hearing the speakers and not the room. And so, I don't know, man. For me, I'm just gonna keep I have the yin yang thing going on in my studio, and so my desk is actually in the corner, and so the walls aren't parallel to my speakers, and so that's something that you can. I actually read an article in Mix Magazine. I want to say in like '91 on that, on the yin yang situation. And that's way I've been mixing for, I don't know, forever since 91. So I've set up my studio like that and I'm accustomed to that. So really it doesn't bother me. I think I'm going to be able to nail the mix pretty good after I get to know these new Presonus and Atom speakers a little more and actually start burning down on some CDs and going out to other vehicles and other units to listen to my mix on. And so, but yeah, man, mixing, recording, engineering, there's so much to learn and so much. It's a lifetime experience. And once you dive into it, um, I don't know, you could be like a fish like me and just get hooked, man. And once you're hooked, you'll never stop, man. And so, I want to encourage you guys, if you haven't been in the studio, get in the studio, start recording, get out your bass guitar and start ripping out some licks on there and working on your chops, and start hitting that little red record button down there and recording yourself playing the scales. And I know it sounds mundane, and it's such a mundane thing to play your scales, but truly what you're doing is you're exercising every day, and you're staying real fluid with your fingers. And so whenever it comes time to lay down that lead or whatever, your fingers are going to be calloused up nice, and you're not going to you're just going to be able to roll through the scales real nice, all your minor scales, pentatonic scales, your Phrygian, Mixolydian, and all your scales. Learn those scales if you don't know those scales, man. That'll help you have a better ear. And so there's just so much to audio recording, mixing, mastering, and music. It's just a world. It's an eternity of love, man, for me. And so I hope it is for you guys too, especially if you're watching tonight, if you're following me on my channels. I know you love audio recording, man, or you wouldn't be hanging out with me. And it's just a passion of mine. It has been since I was probably about 18 years old. I actually started playing guitar, got in a band, and did a lot of self teaching, and then got to a point where I wanted to have someone teach me my modes and scales and whatnot. Did all that, and then it was shortly after that, I want to say in the early 80s, that I actually started getting really interested in recording using tape decks, old Tascam reel to reels, 4 tracks, and Yamaha mixing boards and things like that, and a lot of outboard gear back then. And so got into that, and then once I started doing that and started hearing some of the cool results and the sounds that we were actually hearing back from tape at the time, I was just mesmerized and just thought we were going to make it big time because it just sounded so good. And but yeah, there's just a lot of cool things about music and audio engineering and masking, as well as ear fatigue, guys. Is a real thing. A lot of people don't realize that ear fatigue is a real thing. And I know myself, especially when I've got my cans on, or if I'm into the mix and I've been at it for a while, which you're really supposed to take breaks. But man, I tell you what, once you get everything balanced and you say you're there, you're really not there. You're only halfway there. There's so much more to do after you get a good balance, as to having a good mix that's interesting, that others pay attention to all the way through the song. So it's not just having a good song and a good writing, good lyrics in the song, good melodies, good beats. Years ago, Steely Dan said it best. He came out and said, years used to be all about melody, and now it's all about beat. So I don't know. I don't know. But in this song, I will say that I'm telling you about, that it was an improv that I need to step away for a while and come back to. This song, there's drums in it, but there's other percussion things coming in and out of the mix that makes it really interesting and really intriguing as to holding your attention. It's there, and I've kind of been using it kind of like little ear candy stuff. Um, Certain little hi hat stuff's coming in, different parts, and tambourine happening coming in, different elements and parts of the song to actually keep adding to the song, as they call that a build in the song, to where you keep adding other elements and other ear candy, and the song builds and builds and builds and builds and climaxes till the end, to where, oh man, I want, give me another verse, give me another chorus, something, keep it going. So when you can get to that point where your mixes are that good and everything sounds that good, then you've really completed the job, and and get that little trophy, man, that little ribbon, man, because it really is a lot of hard work actually getting it to that point. And that's why these engineers that are out there that's been mixing for big time artists, that's why they get paid what they get paid, because it's something that took them many years, unless they were underneath someone's wing and had someone coaching them along and being a good mentor to them, then they can pretty much get there a lot faster by having a mentor. And so a lot of their knowledge was through trial and error and schooling and mentoring and classes and listening to other engineers and their ideas on mixing. And there's a lot of good ones out there, man. There's a lot of great engineers out there who get paid big, big money to do what they do. And so, for us guys, it's something to look forward to. It's something to try to achieve. It's something to work hard to be a better engineer, a better mixer, a better listener. So we always want to be a good listener, especially when we're in front of other people, because life isn't all about us, man. And we will find that out one way or another. We will be humbled in some kind of way at one point in our life, man. And so keep that in mind. I want to encourage all you guys, man, get in the studio. Don't let all this stuff with coronavirus and stuff play on you too hard, man. Get out there and take some walks. Go to the park, walk around the park, get some fresh air if you can get out of the house. And think about maybe even watch some more YouTube or watch some more videos on what I'm doing and whatnot, and just take some different ideas one thing at a time and then work on that. And a good one, if you don't know anything about masking and would like to work on tonight, what we talked about is go ahead and lay down some different tracks, bass guitar, keyboards, and whatever, and then put Spectrum Analyzer on each track and listen to that track, only that track, and then find out what frequencies that keyboard is taking up. Find out what frequencies that bass guitar is taking up. Find out what frequencies all the instruments take up. I mean, that's a neat thing. Maybe even just take a tambourine and hit the tambourine and then record that, put the spectrum analyzer on that track, and let's see what frequencies that tambourine's taking up. And so by doing this is going to help you actually in many ways. It's going to help you know what frequencies the instruments take up. It's also going to help you as to what instruments that you want in the song or don't want in the song. So that's going to play a large role as to creating some good stuff too. So the train's rocking and rolling down here. We got the train station going on, and I hope you guys are doing okay tonight, man. I wish all of you well. What time is it? What time is it? It's 8:07 here in Texas. This is Texas time. I've been telling you guys, man, I've been wanting to get on at 7 o'clock every night. Man, it's been hard to do with these classes. Like tonight, the class started at 6:30 and it lasted for 30 minutes. So I did two. I actually went to the gym early, did the ab class, and the girl comes in and says, "Hey, do the sprint class too." So I was there till 7. I'm not far from the gym. It only takes me about 5 minutes to get there and back or whatever. But anyway, I got on late again tonight, and I apologize, you guys, tonight for that. Thank you so much for hanging in there and coming to the show, because we always got a lot of great things going on here at Audio Master R Trib Studios. And it's my job really to not only kind of give you tips and hints on audio recording, and I'm going to do a variety of stuff. I'm going to do entry level stuff, in the middle of the road stuff, and more advanced stuff. So I'm going to try to hit on different subjects that's going to cater to the mass. And at the same time, it keeps my mind fresh as to what I've learned and used in the past. And so if you don't use it, you lose it. Remember that, guys. That goes a long ways. And so in anything you do. So I try to keep my mind fresh too. So whenever I'm kind of going over different subject with you guys, I'm only helping myself in the long run because I'm keeping that fresh in my mind. And when I sit behind the computer to actually do a mix, then I remember these things and I remember it helps me too. So it's a learning thing for me too, right? And so we never stop learning and we don't want to stop using our talent and we always want to continue to share our talent. And look, man, hey, I want to tell you something. I want to tell you something. You might be thinking, oh, I'm really not talented in anything. Oh, I really don't have any talents and, whatever. I'm just so at everything. But that's not true, man. That is so not true. And so if your talent is to giving, then give freely with joy. If your talent is to encourage, then encourage. And I kind of found out where I'm at in life, and I'm a good encourager. And I like to encourage you guys and everybody that I run into that they can do it and they can do it, especially the youth, the new generation that's coming up. They need mentors and they need someone spilling good things in their ears and telling them that they can do it and that you have faith in them. And so that's me, man. That's who I am. And I appreciate you guys joining in and subscribing to my channel because I'm always going to be giving something good. I'm always going to be encouraging you to get in that studio. If you play an instrument, man, get it out, rock it out tonight. God, rock it out. Just play till your fingers hurt tonight. Hit that record button and start putting down some tracks because I want to get you back in the studio, man. I want to get you working again. Get you working again and where you're ready. When you start getting some calls and clients start calling on you to do things, you're ready, your mind's ready, you're energetic, you have the right mental attitude, and you're ready to be, just fired up about life and fired up about everything, fired up about seeing people, doing things with people. Because I want to tell you, this coronavirus stuff that they got going on, I'm not saying it's not a real thing, but so is the flu. So a lot of people, actually, I went to see a client of mine today, went out to his place and analyzed his landscape out there. And we were talking, he actually works at the hospital and he does all the billing and whatnot for the big hospital here, one of the hospitals. And he was telling me, he said, man, he says, he ended up getting the coronavirus and he was down. He didn't have to get under a ventilator or anything, but he was definitely on oxygen. Your oxygen level has to be at a certain rate, like at 97 or whatever, and that's where they kind of want it. But his was way down, and so he was in there for 14 days. But it is a real thing, and I'm not saying it isn't. But look how much it's really put a hold on our economy and on people on fear, and don't let fear. We shouldn't live in fear, man. There's many things that back up that as to we should never live in fear. And when it's our time to go, it's our time to go. So don't live in fear, man. And so with all this media stuff going on and all these things saying going on, man, a lot of us are staying inside and we're not getting out. We're not getting any sun. We're not getting any vitamin D. We're not doing the things we used to do. And it's stressing the heck out of us. And so I encourage you, man, get out, take some walks, join a gym, start working out. When you get back home, get in your studio like me and encourage other people or whatever your talent is. But, you know, start doing and not living in fear, man. Because we don't want to live in fear, man. We don't know when we're going to go. Nobody knows. Nobody promises tomorrow anyway. So live your life, man, and enjoy every minute of it because we don't know when we're going to go home anyway, right? So I hope I was able to encourage you guys tonight, man. Get in your studio, practice some negative EQing, and that goes a lot farther than boosting things. I've been in situations where I've walked behind a mixing board and seen everybody trying to boost. Everybody wants to boost, and they're never cutting anything, man. And so pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to panning because you might want to try to just start panning things hard left and hard right as to cleaning up that mix where you can hear the instruments without having to do a whole bunch of EQing. And if you're really, really good about mixing and mastering, you get like the pros, Al Schmidt and those guys, they use microphones for their EQs, microphones and preamps. These guys are flagship engineers and they really know what they're doing and have so much advice for many people. So I encourage you to watch their videos too, man. They'll teach you so much about things, especially if you're advanced and you understand where they're coming from, and you can actually understand a lot of the things that they're talking about. But if you're new, you might want to just join some classes or whatever, or hop in on my channel because I'm like I say, I'm gonna be doing some stuff on the entry level stuff, everything from actually putting material on your walls to microphones to entry level microphones to major label microphones to mixing, a little bit of mastering, but not so much there because that's a whole nother art in itself. And I can dabble around with it, and I can get everything up nice and hot and fat as to what genre that music lies in. But it's nothing like really sending it off to a true mastering engineer. There's a lot of them out there that you can send your stuff off to, and they pretty much just do it on their computer in their house or whatever. You want to be aware of those guys, man. You actually want to send your mix off, or if you can be there with the mastering engineer while he masters your song, is even better. But this is going to help you learn a lot. And these guys, they don't change on anything, man. It's like adding the icing on the cake when you actually send your stuff out to get mastered by a real mastering engineer. I've actually had my stuff mastered by Emily Lazar. She was amazing. She was completely amazing. Whenever I got back to mix, I was like, oh, just sounds like freaking butter, and everything was smooth, and it was just like glass. It just sounded great. Good job, Emily Lazar, wherever you are out there. High five and thumbs up, two thumbs up on that. And I can't praise you enough on the work that you've done in the past. And you've been a real inspiration to many other ladies out there who are mixing engineers and many other people who are coming up and want to learn the art in itself. And keep on trucking with that deadgum Avalon equipment because I love Avalon equipment. Oh, to answer a few other questions, somebody was writing in the other day and talking about they wanted to start a podcast and they want something really, really clean as to far as a preamp goes. And you can't go wrong on the Avalon stuff. A lot of the Avalon stuff just sounds really, really, really good and super, super. If they use it in the mastering studio, it's going to be good enough for your little podcast channel. So check into the Avalon gear. You won't have any regrets with the Avalon stuff. And as far as the microphone goes, and you're on a budget, that Rode NT1 is a really good one simply because it has the lowest self noise out of all the microphones out there. And so that's something that says a lot about a lot. So whenever you hook that NT1 up to some of that Avalon gear, you're going to be really happy with a nice, clean sound, very upfront and very quiet. And that's what you probably want on your podcast is something that's really, really quiet where you hear the voice. It's right in your face. Sounds really, really good. Nice, beefy, and all together. So check into some Avalon gear. Oh man, there's so many good things we could talk about tonight. But I tell you what, man, we're 43 minutes into it. I haven't had dinner, and so have some mercy and some sympathy for me tonight. And I will be on here tomorrow night. We got a great show going on tomorrow night, man. A lot of different topics, especially if I can get my friend Dennis to show up because he is the man when it comes to talking about audio engineering. And besides, I miss him, and I want to hear what he's been up to. So anyway, he had a dear friend of his pass away. I want to say a week or two ago, and so kind of been just letting him heal a little bit. And everybody needs to go through their own quiet time to do so. And so if he feels like joining in on us tomorrow night, it'll be a great thing to have Dennis come along. Dennis Riva Deniera. He's the man when it comes to all that stuff, and I'd love to have him tomorrow night. So I'm gonna give him a shout probably tomorrow morning on the phone and see if he wants to join us. But we got a lot of great things going on, and you don't want to miss out. Please hit that subscribe button down there, man. It's real easy. Just hit it, slam that bell, and it's real easy to type down there as to why you love Shure microphones, and that will get you in the drawing come up at the first of the month. It'll also keep you in the drawing for the next Shure SM7B microphone. So if you've already hit that subscribe button and slammed the bell, uh, my guy that's going to be coming in and actually doing the drawing, we've been putting the names in a military shell, and he's going to actually come over and do the drawing. And so, yeah, so he's going to be doing that. We're going to be doing one more other giveaway, and like I say, you have another chance to win another microphone. We're gonna do some T-shirt giveaways, and then who knows what's next. I kind of really hate to plan that far in advance because no one knows what tomorrow's going to bring. So we can only prepare and plan, but that doesn't mean that everything's going to go as we anticipated. But to be good as we are, as we know it, we always want to prepare and be ready for the challenge that awaits us, right? Thank you guys for joining in so much as always here, and we will see you tomorrow.